So this is how to use commas with equal adjectives. So what are equal adjectives? Equal adjectives are also known as coordinate adjectives, and they're adjectives that both modify the noun in the same way. So two adjectives that have the same purpose, and they're adjectives in which the order that they're read is inconsequential to the meaning of the phrase. So how are coordinate adjectives or equal adjectives different from this other thing called cumulative adjectives? In equal adjectives, the order doesn't matter, whereas with cumulative, it does. With cumulative adjectives, it follows the pattern of saying the number, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. So when you're reading two things that fall in different categories, it needs to follow this pattern. So for example, you say 3 English bulldogs and not English 3 bulldogs because the number goes before the origin of the noun. But in equal adjectives, the adjectives both modify the noun in the same way. So they both fall under one of these categories. So for example, the stressful, awful exam can also be read as the awful, stressful exam because they both fall under an opinion. And so a comma is placed in between them because these two separate adjectives both modify this one noun separately. So tricks to tell them apart. If the two adjectives are equal, then the order of them may be switched and an and may be used appropriately. So for example, in the sentence, 1,000 tiny snowflakes blew during the cold, windy night. A tiny 1,000 snowflakes doesn't quite make sense because it's cumulative. So in a cumulative phrase, the 1,000 modifies tiny snowflakes, but tiny doesn't really work beforehand. And it just sounds awkward. So this also doesn't work if you say 1,000 and tiny snowflakes. And so, this first part of the phrase or of the sentence is cumulative adjectives. Whereas for the second part of the phrase, 1,000 tiny snowflakes blew during the windy, cold night makes sense, as well as if you put an and in between cold and windy. So then that cold, windy night is an example of having coordinating adjectives. And so if they're equal adjectives, you place a comma in between, as done here, and that is how you properly use equal adjectives.